How many, mutiny I don't care about. Can I click on you? 55 against 59. I want to win this war. You know, for obvious reasons. I think it'll be nice. And actually, we're actually campaigning like pretty fast. We're already in April, which for a TNO campaign is very, very fast. Okay, a long day. Petty Officer Kevin Jackson sat in the cockpit of their float plane with a few millimeters of steel protecting him from the freezing chill of the southern Indian Ocean. Next to him sat a hulking fellow airman James Split P. Carl and a pile of state-of-the-art radar equipment. He paused for a moment to stare out the window. It was just starting to get dark out. He could just barely make out the shore of the Kerguelen Islands. The misty French islands were the keystone of New Swabia's logistics. Rudy had been setting them out to inspect those depots for any potential weaknesses. He was exhausted. These missions had been a daily affair for what felt like weeks now. But he didn't dare allow fatigue to get to him. They were in international waters, well away from their cruiser base, and were pretty close to enemy territory. The stakes could be costly here. Perhaps even deathly so. Looking at the radar device, he watched the green light swirl around the screen with like a hypnotic spiral. He counted the dots, small little points of green light that represented German boats. They were right, Split P. Even less supply boats than yesterday. Much less than the day before that, he said, barely containing a yawn. Really will be happy to know the Germans seem to be losing interest in the spot. Let's keep an eye on it, alright? His co-pilot replied. That was when the light began to blink on the console. Storm's coming in right between us and a path back to HQ. We should head back before it's too late, Split Pleader said nervously. Jackson thought about it for a moment. So again, what do we have? I mean, we need more militarization. Our supplies are still looking good. So, okay, yeah, you're right. I hate to get stuck out here, and I don't mind getting back to base a little bit early. Or hell no, the Australians have a place nearby we can land, here at Island, and let's just tough it out. I think we can gain the militarization. The supplies are not that bad. Though again, our Japanese legitimacy is fucking tanked. Nobody on Earth thinks that Japan has any actual right to be in Antarctica. Which is good for us. Again, I don't want to spend these points. Oh, you give us command power and army experience. That actually... Oh, that actually could be very, very useful. Especially when we do more... Oh, no, the United States actually has sent some units. Oh, they actually sent a helicopter division, which is fantastic. Pole to pole. Major Ben L. Lewis handed his superior, Colonel John C.H. Lee, Jr., a cup of coffee. The colonel was seated on a ridge above the camp, observing the men below. Both he and Lewis were reminded of an anthill as they watched excavators break ground and men bustled hither and yon. The plane's nearly ready, sir, Lewis said. Lee nodded. Oh, pretty desolate here. Greenland's not a very apt name. A history professor of mine once told me that the Vikings called this place Greenland to draw in new settlers. They couldn't very well tell the people back home what this place really looked like. Lewis chuckled. I always found that funny. A medieval code name. Reminds me of our own work. For all of Greenland's bleakness, I'm sure it'll come to seem like a paradise compared to our next destination, Lee sighed. Antarctica. I've served there once or twice with people who have been stationed there, and they all had the same look in their eyes. They knew what oblivion looked like and what it felt like. Lewis looked towards the airstrip and then at his watch. I'm sorry, sir, but we should be going. If I said our Reborn's expecting us within the week. If we don't leave now, that storm from the west will ground us. He drank his coffee quickly and stood up. Well, let's see what all the fuss is about down there. Okay, coup in a northwest frontier province. You're new. Okay. You're a new Oh, yeah, I guess I did read that there were some actual Indian events now. I don't think they have focus trees, but there actually is some Indian content for the other great powers to kind of partake in. Which I am happy to see. India, for so long, India, I think, has been very, very neglected in the New Order. So I'm happy to see that there's at least something there. Okay, so let's... Okay, not push in this direction. That's obviously not going to do anything for us. Cohesion at 49. 4 more cohesion. 6 more cohesion for 6. I mean, we kind of need the cohesion to go up. So I'll send a 6 legitimacy on that, at least for right now. We have 8 days for supplies. and an unprecedented expedition. The Institute of Polar Studies in Ohio State University was a small organization, having only been founded 2 years prior. But as Lewis Jones, the chemistry masters of pursuing a doctorate in geology, entered the building, she could feel that it buzzed with an uncharacteristically nervous excitement. The call of "Congratulations, Jones" greeted her as she walked further in, which led to a bewildered Lewis looking to start at the direction of the head of the institute. Before she got there, however, Colin Bull pulled her aside into his office. Bull was a New Zealander who had recently joined the faculty of the OSU due to their specialization in Antarctic studies. He was a good man and was a worthwhile connection with the land down under, especially given his inroads in his own home country. "Jones, I got a call from Wellington. You're being given the go-ahead to study in McMurdo." Lewis stared back in shock. Her mind was racing. Bull had been pushing for the OAA to allow the first female scientist to study in Antarctica since '59. But while he managed to sway all the officially relevant parties, the U.S. Navy outright refused to allow her passage south. Thankfully, Bull met with Edmund Hillary a few times before, and their correspondence brought the Kiwi explorer firmly onto their side. He was supposedly convincing Admiral Bourne himself to force the issue, and it now seemed the Navy was quietly backing down. "I didn't think you'd actually do it," Lewis replied. A smile filling her face. "If you knew Hillary, you would have. Nothing deters that man," Bull said, his eyes slightly wistful. He then reached under his desk, pulling out a sheet of paper. Actually, it says a sheaf of paper. "Here is a list of what you'll need before you leave. Best start preparing. You'll be flying to LA in a week." Breaking the ice. "Congratulations, women. You broke in the ice ceiling. Very, very proud of you." And secrets. 10 more points for the Americans. That's not really what I want to see. But okay. C.S. Wright was sitting in Edmund Hillary's office when the engineers arrived. As Canadian liaison of the OAA, he had regular meetings with McMurdo's command staff, and Hillary's office in McMurdo was situated directly across from Vice Admiral Bourne's. The door of both offices were open. Wright was halfway through a negotiation for accommodation for his fellow Canadians at one of New Zealand's research outposts, when a group of Americans, army men and engineers from the looks, went trooping through the hall, carrying a box upon box of file folders and documents. Wright slowly trailed off mid-sentence, cocked an eyebrow, and looked over his shoulder. The engineer filed into Bourne's office, deposited the boxes, and left. Wright and Hillary watched as a full minute. The train never stopped. "What do you suppose that's about?" Wright asked. "Not sure," replied Hillary. "We're probably new construction. Maybe McMurdo's getting some new habitats." Wright frowned and turned his back to Hillary. "I wasn't informed of any expansion at the base." Hillary rolled his eyes. "Well, you know how Yanks are. Everything's a secret. I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. Anyhow, it's not like you can hide much of anything down here. Or can you?" Okay, America, I really need you to stop putting all your eggs into the Antarctic basket, okay? At least a little bit. And the P-E-R-T, PERT. Vice Admiral Bourne, looking at the mountains of paperwork all around him, recalled the words of General George Patton. "Compared to war, all other forms of human endeavor shrink to insignificance." The boxes left behind the Army engineers were a skeleton of a audacious project, and Bourne had been given responsibility to see through it. He knew exactly why this had landed on his desk. A few years ago, Bourne was given a similar task of rendering the Navy's Polaris missile functional. He had little engineering experience. He proved his worth through effective use of PRRT, Project Evaluation and Review Technique, getting the UGM-27 Polaris missile from the ground 4 years ahead of schedule. Such a feat was rare in military development and unheard of in rocket design. For the achievement, Bourne was promoted to Vice Admiral in 1960. Iceman. Bourne mouthed as he scanned the first of thousands of documents. He summarized the Army was looking to create his own niche in the nuclear triad and wanted his help to see it done as quickly as possible. Given the chaotic state of the project and the secrecy for which he had been sworn, he knew that his work was cut out for him. Many of the design teams subordinated to him would have to be isolated from each other, kept in the dark. This is a need-to-know development would be a challenge to work around. But Bourne was puzzled at a degree of secrecy. Even the Polaris missile project hadn't necessitated this level of clandestine obfuscation. Of course, in a world that had gone mad, one could never be too careful. But Bourne knew in due time that he would be clued in on the wider goals of Project Iceman. The Army couldn't keep the design team in the dark forever. All that was to do now was to inform the team of their responsibilities and manage the project's workflow via PERT. Bourne was hopeful that he could replicate his early successes and maybe even earn a promotion out of this frozen wasteland. You know what? Like, I kind of think about it. Like, as somebody, of course, who is alive and works in the year 2025, I've been around computers my entire life, right? You know, I am almost 30 years old, which is it's a little weird to say that I am almost a 30-year-old man. You know, but I've never worked a job. I've never worked an office job without a computer. I have no idea how the fuck. You know, let me get the gunfire out of here for a second. I have no idea how people did office work prior to computers. It seems like it would be like just such a fucking pain in the ass. You know, to have like warehouses full of just paper and shit. Like, it's kind of it's a little crazy to me. And you know, you don't need to have like ChatGPT to like to cheat. I mean, I don't use ChatGPT, but like if you want to do so, hard indexes. You know what, motherfucking Dewey Decimal. I'm glad we've killed his ass. We don't need that shit in our lives anymore. You know, we've gone past that. Now we have computers that can tell us information for free. The information is wrong, but it's information nonetheless, you know? And if it seems true, then it is true. And that's one thing that the ChatGPT knows. It knows how to make things look real. You know, you can make things that it certainly looks like a fact. It'd be like so like it's the same thing with like murder, right? Like if you were alive in fucking like 1855, how do you get caught for murder? It doesn't make sense. Like you just kill a guy and then you just oh my god, they put in a civilization tech tree in this. Like it just seems like you just can't get caught. Few decisions. Oh my god, there's so much shit here now. The project evaluation review technique is a project management tool developed by the United States Navy Special Operations Project Office for the Polaris Missile Development Program. It is used to create effects by Vice Admiral Reborn during the development of Polaris, with the project being completed 4 years ahead of schedule. It is yet again time for the technique and Vice Admiral Reborn to put the test in the field of nuclear missile development. The main overview window displays the integrated network, a diagram showing all the interconnected PERT networks, as well as the major events and activities. You can view the entire network using drag and click. Events are represented in boxes, and activities are represented in an arrow connecting them. Further details about the in-progress events and activities can be viewed by hovering over either in the top corner of the button. Yeah, okay, good. Let's go first and foremost. You project. Okay, so I don't know if you can do any of these. I mean, I can't click on them. Maybe they'll come available sometime in the future. I'm assuming I'll probably get like some sort of pop-up that'll be like, hey, you've got a new decision you can click. But I think let's start off with guiding engineering start. I think seems oh god, there's wait. They all have in oh my god. I thought it was just this. But then you click on, and then each one you click on, and there's a further one inside of it? Holy, okay. I mean, let's project go ahead. 155 days. Do I click on these? Doesn't look like it. Click on any event in a different network. We'll open a network to go closer analysis and decision making. There'll be 4 networks that will need to be completed before the project is finished. Electronics, airframe, re-entry vehicle, and testing. Each network is a different layout with different activities that will need to be completed. It's recommended that you focus on prioritizing activities with the longest times, as cutting down these times will have the greatest impact in regards for shortening development time. Okay, so choose whatever has the longest. 94, 149, 48. So they want us to do this one first, it seems. Do I, like, click on you? I mean, they don't do anything yet, so maybe we'll just wait until something might pop up. Is this empty? This tile's empty. There is one weaker Japanese unit moving in here. If we can take this city, we can actually get like a small encirclement. We can at least encircle this one division. I'm hoping we can maybe kill this Japanese troop here. You can see this one that's kind of walking through. Oh, okay, the Americans have actually... Where are you going? Oh, you're retreating into Thailand, you piece of shit? Okay, fine. Okay, but it looks like we... Wait, have we won? Are we actually the world's greatest Antarctic explorer? I mean, it's looking pretty good, I would say. An offer up north. By the time their commanding officer barged into the barracks, every soldier was already standing at attention. He huffed, maybe having expected to catch them by surprise. But all the stomping towards the door gave him away, and he continued stomping as he made his way towards the tallest soldier in the room. Private Edward Freeman held his head high, his eyes straight to the front. His CO scanned his rifle for whatever imperfections he could find. When there was nothing, he grumbled under his breath. Good enough for one of your kind. It was just loud enough for Edwards to hear, but he didn't say anything. The private's face stayed blank as CO drove his gaze to the bayonet. He also probed it for the slightest smudge. After a moment of silent tension, the CO barked out, "Private Edward! Your bayonet is dull. Your 24-hour pass is revoked." Red in the face, he moved to another victim. All the while, Edward did not move or react. A balloon of anger itched to burst in his chest, but he didn't let it. It never ended well, he told himself. It never made it better. Gentlemen who have been granted passes may leave. The rest stay here, the CEO declared, and a good chunk of the company ran off. Edward was among those who had stayed. He stood near the same spot that he had been during inspection, overhearing two other men complaining. That bastard's gonna wind up dead somehow, some way, one whispered. The other scoffed. You watch. You'll probably get promoted. By then, I'll be out of this, even if I have to take that offer for Greenland. An offer to get out? Edward appeared between the two soldiers, startling them. He was never good with conversations, either too dry or too convoluted, but one of the soldiers got it quickly and nodded. Yeah, something up with Greenland. Infrastructure, they said. That's pretty dull. Dull was enough for Edward. Dull was better than the commander, at least. He thanked the two men and marched off. Now, I wonder... Because it says, he crumbled his breath. Good enough for one of your kind. Now, Edward Freeman, I'm assuming is I'm assuming that he is a person of color in some respect. But they don't actually say that in the event. It just says that he's tall. Does the sergeant just hate tall people? He's like, that motherfucker is 6'3". I will fucking kill him. Okay, National Progressive victory in Laos. Like, he just hates tall people, man. Can I move my way to Singapore? Do I've got the power in me? Do I believe in myself? John Gordon is reigning supreme in Australia. Congratulations, I got pushed back. Little embarrassing. I think I had no organization left. You're gonna get in circles. Again, America, the helicopter units we learned last time are so fucking good. That it's actually a little crazy. Living space. Living space. It was something that was taken for granted in most of the constituent countries of the OFN. They all had these wide open spaces, vast frontiers to develop and settle. Such things did not exist in Antarctica. Every domicile stood in stark relief against the polar desert. Every habitat, every usable safe was a niche carved out out of the rock and ice, with the blood, sweat, and tears. McMurdo occasionally received expansions, one being the few bases still growing since the scramble for Antarctica. But these expansions were contested by various factions on site. Right now, Hillary and Beale were meeting to discuss which of their countries would receive the latest accommodations, Australia and New Zealand, or would they both share? For our part, said Beale, we'd like to use these new habitats to host a contingent of Australian soldiers. It would greatly increase our capacity to provide security on the continent and to defend McMurdo. Hillary sighed. Most soldiers, Howard. We have an opportunity to study this place in detail. For the first time in human history, who knows what discoveries await? We're committed to expand our scientific facilities. Well, then why don't we divide the space up evenly? Arguing between ourselves only gives the Americans more control over McMurdo's future. Let's share the habitats equally. Your scientists will have protection, and we all benefit from the discoveries made. Okay. So, what do we have right now? High legitimacy. Supplies looking okay. Militarization's a little bit low. So 1-1. Cohesion goes up by 2. I mean, they might as well each get 1. I don't see a reason to only do... I mean, like, look at this. Like, they're both so low. And we get more cohesion, so you know what? We'll share, at least for the time being. Let's spend 8 points to improve comm links with New Zealand. But then we do need more militarization, so let's see what we can maybe get done there. I have to imagine, I think this special mission, it has to be only for Germany. Because, I mean, again, I don't see anything that we can actually do. And I still do not see any special missions for ourselves. And we want more militarization. Let's see. We have 41 information on you. The thing is, like, it's hard to get more militarization. Does it make any difference where we select? Not really. So let's select the thing that has a special mission. We'll preempt enemy scouts there. We do have 6 points that we can spend. Let's increase to... Okay, increase our supply cap. Which honestly is fucking useless for us right now. Again, our legitimacy is still good. Hitting political power for more intelligence. Let's study agent schedules. I want more intelligence on the Japanese. I think that's who we're at the lowest with. Yeah, by far. Spend 2 on you. Expedition. Who do we have a lot of points with? Chile and Argentina. So Chile and Argentina are who we should be spending our points to get militarization with. While using our militarization on Germany and Japan. I think that makes the most sense. From what we see, at least. Yeah, nothing else we can do with you. Yeah, again, these only happen when we're at 0. So, I mean, we have a lot of time. Breaking the ice. The clouds hanging over Antarctica muddle the line between the horizon and the snowy caps of the hills that embrace McMurdo Station, giving Lewis an unusual first look at the subject of her studies and casting the landscape in a surreal light. It was a place bereft of anything that held the eye, nigh untouched by humans, a blanket in a serene steadiness, all of which instantly set it apart from anywhere that she had been before. The thing that she had once seen parts of Ohio... the thing that she had once seen parts of Ohio as being barren. I mean, it's barren of human life, so, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Meanwhile, the early winter winds sheared her down to the muscle in her bone. Her nerves so numb that she could hardly imagine them working properly. This was no land. This was a land so unlike any other on Earth. She had been standing at the bow since dawn, watching as her final destination drew closer. The ship taking her to McMurdo was equipped to cut through the ice. Otherwise, it would have been impossible to make it to the harbor this late in the fall. Which meant that their approach was accompanied by the cracking of ice. It was only her companion until the... Oh no, it was her only companion until the ship came to a grinding halt and the men started running around the deck, preparing a staircase onto the ice pier below and hauling up supplies that McMurdo had left there for them. The timing of this trip had been a tight thing, and she knew that the captain was eager to get off as soon as they were reprovisioned. Shaking the numbness of her out of her arms and her legs, and she sat down the stairs, finding a small greeting party at the base. As their lead was one reason that she... As their lead, as the only one reason that she... okay, I'm losing my mind. As their lead, as the one reason the Navy was allowed her to come here at all. Edmund Hillary, the New Zealander, shook her hand and introduced his companions. A couple of geologists might collaborate with and lead researchers at the base. How's the German Civil War going? Well, I mean, it happens... I mean, it's next October, right? We're still like a year and a half out. Like, we still got time. I do wonder how the German Civil War is going to affect us in Antarctica. Oh, by the way, where's my unit? Oh, you've already taken Singapore. Wait, how are you not dead? Okay, now you stay here for a second. You will get killed off. I don't think there's a way to go onto these southern islands. Oh, so that's actually part of Indonesia, so it's not really a high priority for us. Ooh, rocket shopping. No two rockets were alike. The slightest change in weight, engine power, or payload capacity would mean the difference between placing a satellite in orbit or sending it to a fiery death in the upper atmosphere. From a military perspective, the choice of launch vehicle was essential in determining the range and destructive capability of a missile, and was nowhere this more true than in the development of nuclear weapons. Vice Admiral Bourne had a decision to make. He had to choose between one of two launch missiles for Iceman. The first option was Minuteman 1, a reliable 3-stage rocket which utilized cheap, solid rocket fuel and required only a modest silo. Very easy to build and maintain. The second option was the Titan 2, a 2-stage liquid fuel rocket, much larger than the Minuteman, but possessing far greater range and payload capacity. This was an easy choice. In polar climates, compact equipment required minimal maintenance was generally king. Therefore, the Minuteman seemed like a logical choice. On the other hand, despite the enormous engineering challenges posed by Titan, the 2-stage liquid fuel rocket was far more flexible in terms of potential targets and warhead yield. For Bourne bemoaned the secrecy surrounding the project. If he knew more about the specifics of the mission's intended purpose, then he could make a more informed choice. As it stood, he had to work off of very limited data. He reduced the issue down to a simple question. Did the flexibility offered by the Titan's range outweigh the compact, low-maintenance Minuteman? So assuming this will affect you in some way. Anything happen when you were gone? I mean, we're trying to build a missile. I don't know exactly when you left, so I can't say for certain. But we're trying to build like a missile, so that's cool. The optimistic completion time, most likely pessimistic completion time, for activities in the airframe network will decrease by 4 days. And you are okay. So you affect air network and electronics network. And airframe network. So I mean, it says here like we basically just always want to choose the one that's the longest. So I don't know why we'd even be given a choice. Maybe there's like some difference as we go further in. But I think we want to reduce airframe network. So that we want to take the one that's better for polar climates. So that's it. That went to 149, and now, so it still says 149. Maybe we need to unpause. Okay, so it says 149. I don't know how it works. But now you are 6. Let's switch you back for Lynch. And, you just kind of go back and forth forever. You are looking very, very weak. I would love for the Americans, or for the main American force to support us a little bit more. We're going to take Malacca, which is... Okay, I don't even know how you got here. I don't know if you did like a naval invasion or what. But yeah, it looks like we will win in Malaysia. A big thumbs up for us. I don't know if we're going to get like any bonuses for helping out. I mean, I hope so. Okay, we have 2 task force. No, we have 4 task force that we can kind of send out. And again, I think we're gonna preempt scouts. Send all of our troops just to kind of figure out what the hell's going on in Argentina. Because here's the thing, I could not give less of a shit about Argentina, right? Who cares? Like, Argentina is... Where is Argentina? They are a triumvirate observer state. Which, I mean, that's not great. And, like, Chile is in the American sphere. So, like, for the most part, like, we're kind of supporting Chile over Argentina. Because Argentina is more supporting of the Italians. And I don't know where Italy is going to kind of ebb and flow. I mean, it seems like they typically go more democratic. Is this even Hoi 4 anymore? Brother, it's better than Hoi 4. This is... I don't know. Who needs Hoi 4? Right? When you have the written word. Maybe the most important invention or discovery in human existence. The written language. And you would prefer to click little guys around a map as opposed to like the raw, the human spirit? This is what we're about, motherfucker. This is what your whole life is built upon. Matt, if you can't... Okay. Fool me once. 3 bandits, 4 clicks northeast, bearing south. The radio squawked. Roger that, going quiet. Attacker... Wait, I should actually do it the other way. Roger that, going quiet. Attacker responded, shutting out the radio. You know the drill, Lefty. Lefty nodded, pouring out his canteen. Go for broke. Unfortunately, he had seen that the pair had tried the same trick one too many times. Approaching the Japanese soldiers, Takai began his or her speech. Thank God we finally found a bullet to Takai's hips, cut short his speech. With a split second to react, Lefty ran, hotly pursued by Japanese infantrymen. Fortunately for Lefty, the man was a poor runner. And an even worse marksman. He missed all of his shots on Lefty and struggled to keep up the pace. After Lefty gained the decision lead on his pursuer, he submerged himself into the bog and waited for the enemy to run past him. Minutes later, the man in question, panting and holding his side, walked right by Lefty. Seeing an opportunity, Lefty, in one motion, lunged out at the man, planting his knife into his neck, and submerged him into the bog. Lefty waited in the bog until the dark before finally radio in. Olympus is Athens. Lieutenant Takai Sato is MIA, likely captured. He literally got captured on the very last day of the war. Honestly, a little embarrassing. A little embarrassing for him. That's all I've got to say. It's Hearts from Steel. Or does what? Can I just say, by the way, I'm not used to having to scroll this far down to get to the bottom of the map. I will say, though, I do like this map. I like how, you know, we have these islands up north. That you can actually see all of Russia. You know, like, where would we be in life if we could not go to, you know, Iqaluit or, you know, to Yellowknife? You know? I like this map. Anyways. Maintaining the lifeline. The skies over McMurdo Station have been draped in a deep, dark blanket. Wallman observed the stars from the window, while the radio broadcast had droned on and on. Oh, today will be chillier than yesterday, with temperatures sitting around negative 26.5 degrees Celsius. We can also expect strong winds coming from the northwest. Having had enough, Wallman turned off the radio and let the announcer's voice fade in the static. Now all that accompanied him was the howl of the wind as it battered on his dorm window. Winter in Antarctica was long and hard. Wallman knew that much. He had gone through a couple already. The dark blanket would stay over the sky for many months, breaking the spirits of men across the frozen waste. This is why he needed the energy of the nuclear reactor. Like a beating heart, it would keep the station alive through thick and thin. All the while, Wallman was responsible for that heart. He sat at his desk and took a long sip of coffee, shifting around the pile of papers. The reactor would need more power to plow through the winter months, and on top of that, it would have to keep working without malfunction. That was the real challenge. Who would have guessed that the delicate equipment doesn't always bode well with Antarctica's hostile climate? Just like humans, Wallman spoke to himself. He sat down his coffee. Time to get to work. Do we need Yellowknife? I would say so. What's cohesion at right now? 41? I mean, that's not great. Cohesion goes up by 6. How much legitimacy do we have right now to spend? 73? Okay. So let's go for construct and work with Beale. We now have some points here. Okay, so it seems like no matter what, my man was going to get captured the last day. Forge ballots, purchase plantation, we get some supplies and some rifles. Well, let's rescue our prisoners of war. Let's get Takai back in American hands, okay? Wonder what the next update will be about. I don't know. Don't they have like a list of upcoming updates on like the main page? I'm not too sure who they will do next. I mean, a Middle East one I think would make sense. Or for India would probably be the ones that I would be most interested in. Winter is coming. Rear Admiral Reedy studied the meteorological reports, barometer readings, and temperature forecasts on his desk intently. Cozy would be a fine word to describe Reedy's office. Everything from the desks to the cabinets was a little smaller than their equivalents back home. Consequently, the stark white papers seemed to cover most of the desk like a perfectly rectangular snowdrift. The man who drafted the reports, C.S. Wright, Canada's liaison to Antarctica, sat across from Reedy, watching the Rear Admiral from his deep-lined eye sockets. The Antarctic veteran seemed to fit perfectly in the cramped environments, which were surely more comfortable than his previous accommodations on the continent. Compared to the tents of the Terra Nova expedition, McMurdo was a 5-star hotel. The snow, Wright summarized, would be deep enough to completely isolate most of the outpost. But that was not the chief problem. The temperature will drop so low that the ice will be too thick for icebreakers to penetrate. And the catabolic winds, well, let's just say flying out is out of the question. Bottom line is that we need to develop a reserve of supply, enough to see us through any crisis. Reading knew that either meant requesting more supplies from the Antarctic Commonwealth Command or turning to one of the Commonwealths for health, either Australia or New Zealand. Wright added, the good news is the Germans and the Japanese will face the same travails. For the next few months, our only enemy is Antarctica, and if we do not prepare, it will evict us. Again, I can't have the US get more power here. India, they've added, for India, they've added like a little bit of content, but I don't think it's for India itself. It's for the United States and Japan, I'm assuming Germany as well, to kind of intervene in India, because I think India and the Azhan government can now actually go to war at some point. But I think that's all that they've added. They don't have focus trees or anything like that. Okay. I mean, New Zealand is at the lowest. So, I mean, I guess we'll go for... Yeah, we'll give the Kiwi some points here. I started a new CK3 run after like 3 years. And a new update to it. And for the new update to Valley, I might have saved. Fantastic. Always happens, right? You always want to play the game. And that's always when they update it too. Turn the beat around. Well, shipmates, up next we have a wonderful piece of audio documentary for you. Please enjoy Jacques Cousteau's coverage of Antarctica's marine life. The guy knew that the documentary would interrupt the well-needed rhythm and blues that dominated McMurdo FM these days. But these guests of Antarctica needed to know a little about the territory that they were intruding upon. In the radio station, Matt and Takai listened to the Frenchman's coverage. It was an intriguing spectacle. The penguins and their migratory habits, until Matthew interrupted the silence beholding the crew. Fascist bastard. It should be illegal to play his records over the airwaves, he grimaced. Really, man? Just starting to enjoy this documentary, Takai inquired. Damn right he is. He's loyal to the highest bidder. I've only heard reason he works for Vichy France is because of their control over Craiglulin. What a fucking scumbag, Matt sighed. Damn. I'm sorry, I didn't know that. I can stop it if you like. Takai raised his hand up defensively. No worries, Takai. Most people don't know how sleazy that wanker is. Besides, it's a good documentary. Such a damn shame that he turned out to be such a terrible guy. Who knows? With morals like that, maybe he'll jump back to our side someday. That happens after the oil disaster, right? I'm not too sure. I actually have not... I haven't played since the update, so I don't know when that war begins. I mean, the oil crisis seems like it would be a good kind of kickoff for that. But we'll see. And cohesion is still dropping.